Pirate Radio Network. Radio Free Larry presiding.
You can run, but you can't hide.
Radio Free Larry.
All right, here we go again. Buckle up, rough roads ahead. So I'm trying to figure out, allows you to stream a ticker. Maybe that's what I need. Let's see what this says. Oh, I see. Let me try this. Police audit is a scam. First Amendment. I'm in the car wash. If you hear anything in the background. I didn't capitalize everything. That's okay. Now how do we do this? Save. How do I get it to work? It's a ticker. How do I get the ticker to turn on? I don't know. Doesn't look like it's going to work. Oh, there it is. Okay. So what it comes down to is this. Based upon what the Terry stop is, what they bring up, based upon the logic and the law behind the Terry stop, there actually could be additional law based upon the reasonableness of security. The judges know that the federal judges know they're in a secure environment where people are not allowed to film. So it's not like this idea that doesn't exist anywhere. And again, they would go, if they had their gumption, they could go in there and say this is a public building like they do everywhere else. But you have to get it in front of the court in the right context. And essentially, it's a security function. There should be a reasonable amount. Oh, I got to pull out of the car wash here. There should be a reasonable amount of time allowed for temporary detention for security questioning. And again, there would be a kind of a litmus test, the same way for the Terry stop. Right. There would be law around it, or a ruling around it, whatever it is, an order, whatever it is, that would say, it has to meet certain reasonableness. Because it's absolutely reasonable to say, hey, judge, this is a police station, and this person is here filming, and we want to know what the interest is. 100%. And who that person is, just in case something happens and we need to go back. Again, the function of security. And of course, that person is going there for one purpose. The person acts like when a good cop comes along, what he calls a good cop. Oh, see, this cop knew what to do. He let me do whatever I wanted. No, I'm not doing the same thing. You're weirdos and idiots. You know what you're doing in my life. My gosh. I'm sorry. So that's the first part. Now think about this. Would you let that person go into your school, which is a public place? They pretty much saying run by the government. It's a public place. A lot of places, it goes into the sheriff's office. goes into a police station, goes into the, you know, different offices in City Hall, that kind of thing. Now, would you let somebody walk around your elementary school and film the children? No. Why? You could say it's different, but why? It's the same. Security, safety. 100%. So again, there has to be a revision, and what police officers are suing for, essentially, or asking for in these laws, is a certain footage in a traffic stop, and I think that's kind of misguided, and it may pass the Supreme Court's muster when it gets there. What you should do is take on the entire thing, the idea of what it is and why it is, and why it needs to apply to all these different locations, because then you connect it to the judge. Because the judge knows that the judge is in a safe place where they can't film the judge when he goes down to the cafeteria for lunch. So DOJ would probably be the ones that are supposed to do it, but I don't know if they would do it. Now, it's absolutely reasonable to temporarily detain somebody for security purposes. What he'll say is, well, you're not supposed to limit. Don't work like that, because the Terry stop limits it. The Terry stop itself limits that idea that he throws out every time. And all that means is that there needs to be another type of finding related to security functions in sensitive locations. And again, what's reasonable? A 5 foot, maybe a 10-foot perimeter was too much, but a 5 foot or 10-foot perimeter for law enforcement. Again, the same function. And that individual caused the trouble. That individual goes there. Why? Because he wants you, so he can call you a name. Right? Hey, do I go anywhere? Oh, you drove past our police station. See, that was a setup. the way I was driving to drive my vehicle, which I'm doing right now, I went a different direction. That's it. I'm not going. Somebody is getting drunk, and he's like, well, I just my business, and like, yeah, I did too. Well, because I work with a bunch of I get rich. I did their. And they're getting rich. That's why I say they cuck their own bosses. Thank you. Thank you, Larry. It seems relatively simple to me. If a judge rules against it, then they're shitty poo poo because they're living that life, right? Restricted because. What is it? Fort Wayne, maybe was it? It's Fort Wayne. They did it right. The Secret Service and Fort Wayne did it right. Now, why did the Secret Service come out and talk to me? Why does Putin want that from you? The Secret Service? He didn't. I'd end up having him hit me. Thank you, Larry. So again, that was done well. The Fort Wayne one, the Secret Service didn't come outside. A uniformed officer responded. Thank you, uniformed officers did respond. Right. So again, the idea is we don't want the Secret Service out there because they have they're not generally. I mean, they do go out in the public, but they generally don't do. Yeah, we ended up with FBI agents on video, but they just grow a beard or something and shave their head, dye their hair blonde. Their beard, that is. Head has to be shaved. So that's how it was supposed to be handled. So he's like trying to get them to handle it wrong. Actually made an effort to handle it wrong. 100%. Right. It's bullshit. The man is engaged in a I wouldn't say a conspiracy necessarily, unless he speaks to other people about it. But he's there to make the disruption. I mean, in some cases, you just got officers just trying to do their job. They're a regular officer, and it's just, hey, who are you? And that's it. And some officers just like, okay, forget it, bye. Yeah, bye. I mean, what the hell's that? I think in most locations that he went to, it was reasonable to ask to identify him, and I believe it's also reasonable if there was an issue to temporarily detain. Again, he's not exhibiting behavior that's normally seen. It's not to say we browbeat him into it. It's just like, what's wrong with this guy, and why is he refusing to do what 99% of the people do, which is, here's my ID. Oh, I don't have, or even say, I don't have my ID on me, and here's my name. It's not your name, it's my chief's name. That's what I could do. Yeah, if I were like that, I'd do it, but I'm not like that. Find out what the chief's name is. Actually, in L.A., pretty close. Oh yeah, your name is Lawrence Michael Moore, right? Oh yeah, right. I'm just say cute. So yeah, so I think it's rather simple law. I just don't know where you're gonna and how you're gonna do it. Again, the way it's been done, I don't find it's just too narrow. As weird, as weird as that sounds, because it's usually too broad. 100%. Well, what it appears, you're trying to carve out your own little thing instead of, again, self-serving versus serving the larger process. So we have high security facilities, and theoretically, we're not allowed to get force the issue. Money is actually get that money. I hinted about that. Stuff like that. Could track the through several. I can't remember which way to go. This is like a stupid intersection. You got to heal it here by the neighborhood church. I can never. I mean, at this point, I should remember which direction I really want to go here. I think I can make a left, but right. But I think I can make a right also. I won't make a left. It seems right. Right. Like I'm not sharp on direction from that intersection there. I guess I'm on Antioch now, right? Yeah. Anti-Uck. Well, you got to find somebody that'll move it. You got to study the law. It's a big case. It's a huge case. But it's kind of reasonable. So when you get to that point of saying that there should be this allowance, there's going to be limitation, like there's on a Terry stop. But I think it might even extend to a small perimeter around officers. Now you can't get crazy with it. You got to. So again, it's going to take a lot of refinement. Well, the trick is, you can get away with stuff before the case law starts or the cases start hitting. If they allow some of it, but it's better to get it ironed out in the beginning so you don't have any case law that comes against it. Then you don't infringe on anybody's rights at all, or there's no question of you infringing upon somebody. So that at a certain point, when would that perimeter? Where does that perimeter begin and end when police officers are interviewing or arresting a subject? It has to exist. That perimeter is reasonable. I think I'm hearing from the Supreme Court, but I don't know. And again, it's not the whole court, I'm sure. But you have to present it. And again, that one might fly. I don't know if they appealed it yet. Right. For a 10-foot perimeter, I think they asked for. Well, even for the safety of the people that are filming. Right. I mean, people can get themselves in trouble all the time. Right. It's like the other day with the undercover MAGA up there in New York protesting the immigrants. And he even snagged, what's his name? Sliwa. I mean, you get too close filming that and you get whopped, and I'm sure people did. So again, I think we need to back up and set some standards for all of this craziness. The internet's big, filming's big, influencers, all that kind of stuff. But again, there's a way that seems right to man, and it just doesn't really go where they think it's going to go. 100%. Again, people are even dead. Right. So I think I think the influencer idea is a good idea to a certain degree, but it's also you see a lot of people dying young that are influencers. So again, it's kind of like, well, what's going on there? So again, it's a good kind of introspection tool. 100%. Thank you, Larry. I've been in the influencer head. I mean, I just can't get anywhere because the government and everybody else is killing me because they're all crooks. And if their thing says you got to die, then that's how they live. 100%. No, if I had a normal life, I could have, again, my health would have been better, and I think it will be better soon. I'm hoping. I could just go out to California, and I would, I'd probably be in a couple of their skits, that kind of thing. Right. I'm not a big prankster guy. I mean, I think it's funny, some of it, but it's kind of like, this could lead to some issues because people begin to lose inhibitions in certain, and they should say, don't try this at home or something like that. Right. Well, because they try, some of it's skits too. I mean, I realize that, and it's cool because I know some of it's a skit, and that's really the history. Well, that makes it great actually when they're not actually pranking beyond a certain point, but merely presenting a prank as a skit beyond a certain point. 100%. And again, I don't agree with the racist one where they go, yo boy, hand me something, boy. I'm just not. That's way past where anybody should be. Even if the black person's part of it and it's a skit, I still wouldn't agree to it. 100%. That doesn't need to exist. Actually, the federal government should probably look at that and see what they're about and what they're doing. 100%. It's probably considered hate speech. But when you realize that these are people that just got some video equipment and they're goofing around and they become pranksters, and then they're doing skits. And it's kind of like what's that guy's name? Jay. Jay goes over the line. See, I don't know if he actually goes over the line. I think some of it's skits. He probably went over the line. I got someone get in trouble a couple times. Right. Notice the cop was in on it. but Jay kind of funny. It's like Lucille Ball and that kind of humor, slapstick and all that. So again, it's really nice and pleasant to see that everyday people just all of a sudden became, Lucille Ball and Ricky, Ricky Ricardo. So that part of it's pretty cool. But I get a little, I myself will watch the pranksters because I think it's pretty funny, and that guy that's Armenian, I don't know how much of that's real and how much of that's a skit, right? I think he'd be dead by now, but maybe it's magic. I'm thinking that maybe he's magic and he can stay alive, right, through his magic. 100%. So again, some of it's nice, some of it's overkill. Again, because it's you're talking about everyday people getting like TikTok and all that. They're getting online, they're dancing, they're doing other things, and again, some people are real nice and they're instructing people in the dance. That's great. I see a lot of young people learning to dance. That that type of social interaction, even though some churches don't agree to dancing or whatever it is, but a lot of them are just kind of not close dancing, just show dancing, which is really nice. And that's going to help people in life when they pick those things up. So you can get online, look at a video, and that one, it looks like it's one person and then like three of the same person, but I think it's her sister or something and somebody else or whatever. She does a well job in teaching people all the different dance moves. And it's not traditional dance. It's actually like show dance, really. I mean, I know it's dance, but it's like show dance. So again, that's another aspect of, let's say, Hollywood or the cabaret theater or whatever it is coming out, and the people have access to that type of thing. Thank you. So back to the main idea here. Actually, I was supposed to turn there. I just washed my vehicle. I'm drying it off. I think there's a reasonable extension of the Terry stop, but it should be its own thing and called something. 100%. Because that's always been, so as far as I remember, it was articulatable to need to, I guess we call it temporary detention, but question somebody in relation to like courthouse security or something like that. 100%. Now the problem is, like I said, when you're looking at cameras, the best thing to do is to call somebody that's already seen by the public, like a uniformed officer. And that should be the interaction. Not sure where I'm at here. I guess I'm going in the right direction. I go back around. Boy, the allergens are pretty rough. Right. It's probably a mold in the dust and dander. So it's kind of like crazy because it's extreme one direction or extreme the other direction, and that's why nothing can sustain in a level fashion, and that's why officers are having trouble. It's kind of the people take them too far that way, with their shit, and then the officers apply their shit and go too far the other way, and Thank you. So I think, again, I say stuff because God puts it in my head. So in New York, it needed to go national. He needed to develop a national system of moving some of the immigrants along. I don't know if it was possible, but that would have head off some of the pushback he's seeing now. I mean, they probably still would have did it because a lot of them are MAGA in disguise. But right. Well, what's notable is that MAGA is now out there again. Now, of course, they don't appear as MAGA because there's a negative connotation to that. Right. But they're out there again doing what they did before, and then that culminated with January 6th. So that when we see that, then that raises a modicum amount of concern in Atlanta and the other courthouses. Well, because it just builds. The longer it goes, the more it sucks in, and the more kind of the audit idea. I can be out here and doing it. It's my right to do this. Besides, all we're doing is praying. Well, then why do you have all that weaponry? Well, because they're going to attack us. Thank you, Liz. Thank you, Larry. So again, there needs to be some thought in a larger package that allows minimizing things. Again, as far as filming, I don't believe that a secure facility should be filmed. I mean, can you stop it? I don't know. Well, I mean, there's basic ideas as to what crime could be committed if they were allowed to film. It gives them intelligence. A team of people come in and attack the police station. Right. So again, security in a courthouse where the federal judges work is pretty high. No filming, no weapons. If you walk around filming, they'll question you and probably put you out. So again, that would be the question. I guess because they say it's inside or something, but they've done it inside. So again, that needs clarified. A police station inside should not be filmed unless there's some authorized reason why it's being filmed. And then other locations also. Again, outside, that's a concern too when you get into security. So again, you have to get to a judge on the side. I think I would speak to some judges, give them the reasoning, tell them how security works and how videoing the outdoor could be a risk. They might only allow you to minimize filming inside places, but you have to get that to a point of order in reality, right? You have to know everybody has to be on the same sheet of music. The federal judiciary has to rule on it, and you have to know you should be allowed certain level of temporary detention, especially if a person doesn't want to give you your name. Again, he's setting up a scenario that he takes apart independently. But when you put it all together, there's concern, and there is a security concern. So again, I think federal judges would feel that there is a valid level of concern. And then when you get that crafted, you'll find there might be a way to allow for I think 5 foot is what they would go for. Like a 6 foot, maybe a 6 foot. 10 foot might be a little bit long. I mean, I understand it. And a person can film you at 10 foot pretty good. And you can't abuse it. You got to make sure officers don't go, oh, you're too close, as they run over towards somebody. That's what they do. Now we get to arrest you because you're too close. And they ran at the person. So again, from both sides, you got to manage that and get to a point of order. Well, stay peaceful. Praise God in all that you do. Praise God.